squares, the root loci are symmetrical about the real axis of S plane. That means, say if we have a S plane, if we construct the root locus of the upper half, then the bottom half of the root locus can be its mirror image of the upper half. That is what symmetrical about the real axis of S plane is. The second property is starting points of root loci. So from where we should start tracing the path. So for that, consider the open loop transfer function g of s h of s, which can be written in this form, and we can make the summation and we can write it over here this way, right? Now the characteristic equation, we know it is given as 1 plus g of s h of s equal to 0. So this particular open loop transfer function, if we substitute in this, we get j equal to 1 to n s plus pj plus k I equal to 1 to m s plus zi equal to 0. So now if we consider k equal to 0, if k is equal to 0, what we get is s is equal to minus pj, where j is 1, 2, etc. up to n. That means these are the poles. These are the poles, open loop poles of the system. So the root locus branches always start at open loop poles when k equal to 0. So thus, as the open loop gain k is varied from 0 to infinity, each branch of the root locus always originate from an open loop pole where k is equal to 0. So now we'll see where does this root locus branch terminate. So the third property is terminating points of root loci. The characteristic equation, we can rewrite it as 1 by k j equal to 1 to n s plus pj plus I from 1 to m s plus zi equal to 0. Or when we can have k equal to infinity, we can get s is equal to minus zi, where I is 1, 2 up to m. These are nothing but the zeros of the system, open loop zeros of the system. Therefore, the root locus branches always terminate at the open loop zeros when k equal to infinity. So always remember that the root locus branch originates from an open loop pole where k equal to 0, and it always terminates at open loop 0 or 0 at infinity where k is infinity. So how many root loci are there in the plot? So the next property is number of root loci. So if the number of poles in the open loop transfer function, we denote it by n, and the number of zeros, if we take it as m, then the number of separate root loci in the plot is equal to number of poles if the number of poles is greater than number of zeros, and the number of root loci will be equal to number of zeros when the number of zeros is greater than the number of poles. So usually you will have n greater than m. So this is very important to note. So complex root locus is formed between a pair of pole and a zero of the open loop transfer function. So the total number of root loci will be either equal to n or m, whichever is greater. So the next property we'll see in which path of the S-plane the root loci will exist. So existence of root loci on the real axis. Say suppose we have a S-plane. We have a pole at 0. We have a pole at -2. We have a pole at 0. We have a pole at -2. And we have a 0 at -5. This is the location of our open loop poles and open loop zeros. So we have to check which part of the real axis is a part of root locus. So which part of our S-plane forms the part of root locus. So for that, what we need to do is we will consider a section between two poles. Say we have two poles here. One pole at 0 and another pole at -2. So we will consider the path in between 0 and -2. So what we have to do is between this path to the right, how many open loop poles and zeros are there we have to see. So to the right of this path we have only one pole at 0. It is an odd number. So we can tell that this particular path is a part of root locus. Next, we consider a path in between -2 and 5. To the right of the point, we have two. One is 0 and the other one is -2. So it is an even number. So we can say that between 2 and -5 there is no existence of the root loci. So what we can conclude is a point on the real axis lies on the root locus if and only if the sum of the open loop poles and zeros on the real axis to the right of the point concerned is an odd number. So over here, this is the path of, here you can have a root loci because to the right you have a odd number 1, and here also you can have a root loci because to the right of it you have the sum of poles and zeros to be 3. So this path and this path is a part of root loci. Next we will, and one point to remember is the complex poles and complex zeros, it will not affect the existence properties of root loci on the real axis. So the next property is asymptotes and centroid. So what is meant by asymptotes? See, if the number of finite zeros, that is m, is less than the number of finite poles, that is n, then how many root loci will be there? It will be equal to the number of poles. In this case, n minus m branches of the root locus must end at zeros at infinity. Okay, so the branches which are approaching infinity travel along the straight line called asymptotes. Say for example, we have 2 poles. Okay, so n is 2 and we have m which is equal to 1. That means we have one open loop 0 and 2 open loop poles. So how many root loci will be there? Number of root loci will be 2 because our n is greater than m. Then we have learned that the root loci always starts at an open loop pole and ends at open loop 0. Since we have only one 0, one root loci which starts at one pole will end at 1 0. But one more branch which starts at the second pole, it does not have a 0 to terminate. So that particular branch will terminate at infinity. So along how it is going to travel along infinity, that is decided by this asymptotes. So the branches which are approaching infinity will move along the asymptotes of the root locus. So always the number of asymptotes is equal to n minus m. So you will understand it more clear when we have a look into the root locus. The asymptotes, it will intersect the real axis at a common point called as centroid. So all the asymptotes will intersect at a common point called as centroid. So what is centroid? Centroid is given by sum of real part of poles minus sum of real part of zeros divided by number of poles minus number of zeros. So this centroid is always real and it can be located either on the negative real axis or on the positive real axis, and this centroid may be a part or may not be a part of root locus. That is to be remembered. And the angle of asymptotes is given by phi a equal to 2q plus 1 into 180 degree divided by n minus m. Q varies from 0, 1, 2, etc. up to n minus m minus 1. These angles are called the asymptotic angles. Asymptotic angles. So the next property is breakaway and break-in points. Loop poles always. So that means to say one branch can start here and the other branch can start at this point. So at one here k equal to 0, k is also equal to 0. So at one point when these two meet, it has to diverge, right? Either towards a 0 or it has to terminate at infinity. So this may break. So this point is called as break point. So the break point is a point on the real axis where two or more branches of the root locus depart from or arrive at the real axis. So if the root locus comes out of the real axis and moves into the complex plane as I have shown you here, then it is the breakaway point. If the root locus is entering the real axis, if it is entering the real axis, then it is a break-in point or it is a re-entry point. So you need to remember that if you have two adjacently placed poles as you have seen here, then there exists minimum one breakaway point in between adjacently placed poles. Instead of two poles, say you have two zeros, okay? Two zeros, adjacently placed zeros on the real axis, then there exists, and if this is a part of the root loci, then there exists minimum one break-in point between the adjacently placed zeros. So if there is a 0 on the real axis and to the left of that 0 there is no pole or 0, then there exists a minimum one break-in point. So the break angles are given by plus or minus 180 degree by r, where r is the number of branches approaching or leaving the break point. So now how actually are you going to find the breakaway points? So break points. So it can be either a breakaway point or it can be a break-in point. So first we have to write the characteristic equation 1 plus g of s into h of s equal to 0. So from this characteristic equation we have to separate the terms containing k and we have to rearrange like k is a function of s. Now the next step is you differentiate this with respect to s and equate it to 0. Whatever values of s you get, it gives the breakpoints. Now whether it is a valid breakaway point or not, break-in point or not, we need to find it. So the values what you obtain from this, that is s value whatever is obtained, we need to substitute in this to find the value of k. If the value of k is positive, then it is a valid breakaway or break-in point, otherwise it is not. So how do you decide whether it is a breakaway or break-in? So to decide whether it is a breakaway point or break-in point, differentiate this again. D square k by ds square, we have to find it and we have to substitute the value of s, whatever is obtained in d square k by ds square. If this d square k by ds square, after substituting this value of s, if we get it less than 0, then it is a breakaway point. Breakaway point. If d square k by ds square is greater than 0, then it is a break-in point. So this is how we find the breakaway point. So first find the characteristic equation, rearrange it so that k is a function of s, differentiate it, find the value of s. This s substitute back in this to find the value of k. If k is positive, it is valid. So to decide whether it is breakaway or break-in, again differentiate dk by ds with respect to s. If on substituting the value of s in this, if you get it less than 0, it is breakaway. If it is greater than 0, it is a break-in point. So next is to find the angle of departure and angle of arrival. So next is to find the angle of departure at a complex pole. So to determine the direction in which the locus leaves a complex pole or enters a complex zero, we need to find the angle. So what is meant by angle of departure? The angle at which a root branch leaves a complex pole in the s-plane, we call it as angle of departure. It is given by phi d is equal to 180 degree minus phi, where phi is summation of the angle made by the poles minus summation of the angle made by the zeros. So we need to find this first and then we have to find the angle of departure for a complex pole. Similarly, if you have a complex zero, we have to find the angle of arrival because the branch starts from pole and terminates at a 0. So we need to find the angle of arrival at a complex 0. So the angle of arrival at a complex 0 is given by 5a is equal to 180 degree minus angle of arrival phi A is equal to 180 degree minus phi, where phi is the angle made by the zeros minus summation angle made by the poles. So the angle of departure and the angle of arrival needs to be calculated only when there are complex poles and zeros in a system. Next is imaginary axis crossing point. So if the locus crosses the j omega axis, so if the locus crosses the j omega axis, say suppose like this, then we need to find the intersection of the root locus with the j omega axis. We need to find this point. And the critical value of k also we need to determine. So we know starting point of k is at a pole where k equal to 0. Next, it approaches a 0 as k tends to infinity. So at this intersection we need to find what is the value of k. That is the critical value of k. So that we can do it by applying Routh-Hurwitz criteria, which we have already studied. So this will allow us to know the stability of the system. So the rules, general rules which we need to follow for constructing a root loci is, the first thing is the root loci is symmetrical about the horizontal real axis. Next, we have to see how many branches are there in the root locus. So if the number of poles is greater than number of zeros, then the root locus branch will be equal to the number of poles, else it will be equal to the number of zeros. And always the branch starts at the open loop pole where k is equal to 0 and terminates at a point either at infinity or open loop 0 where k is infinite. And the third point is the point lies on the real axis of the root locus if and only if the sum of the open loop poles and the open loop zeros to the right hand side is an odd number. Then we have to find, so how many branches are tending to infinity? We have to find the asymptote. So we have to find the centroid, we have to find the asymptotic angles. Next thing is we have to find the breakaway points and breaking points. Then if our system has complex pole and complex zero, we need to find the angle of departure and angle of arrival. At last, we have to find if there is any intersection with the imaginary axis, and we have to find the point of intersection. We have to find the critical value of k and decide the stability of this system. So this is how we plot a root locus if we have a system of any order as developed by W.R. Evans. So what happens if we are adding a pole to G of S, H of S? So first thing is the centroid will be shifted. If we add a pole, the centroid will shift to the left. Okay. The second thing is the angle of asymptotes will reduce. Angle of asymptotes will reduce. That is the second point. Then obviously there will be a change in the shape of the root locus. Change in the shape of root locus, and it will shift towards the right half of the S plane. And relative stability is decreased, and there is a reduction in the value of k. Even a system which was perfectly stable can become unstable as k increases to infinity. Next, we'll see what happens if we are going to add a 0 to the open loop transfer function G of S, H of S. So if we are adding zeros to G of S, H of S, obviously there will be a change in the shape of the root locus and it will shift to the left half of S plane. And the second thing is the relative stability of the system is improved. Relative stability is improved. Now we have gone through the properties of root loci in which we can plot the root locus. So in the further videos we will be looking into the examples of constructing the root locus. Thank you for watching this video.